Hi, I'm Kathy,
And I'm Tom.
and we're here to share ideas about how each of us can live smart.
365.
So, welcome to this month's vlog. Today, we're trying something new yet again, and it's our first live interview. Hopefully, it will go well. The person or the couple that we're interviewing today is actually fellow bloggers that I met, like 5 or 6 years ago online. We've never met in person before today, but a couple of weeks ago, Michelle sent me an email saying we're going to be near your area, and is it possible for us to have a safe lunch together? And I said, yes, we can, but you have to give us a live interview. So that's what we're doing here today in the park. And rather than me go into what they do, what their blog is, and all that, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So please help me welcome Jed and Michelle Chang.
Hi, thank you, Kathy.
Hi,
I'm
everyone.
Michelle.
I'm Jed.
Our blog is intentionaltravelers.com. We have been married for 12 years, and after working in higher education, we decided we wanted to do something really different, to take a sabbatical from our life as we knew it, and we ended up joining the Peace Corps. So we served in Jamaica. We volunteered for 2 years in rural Jamaica, and when we were done, we found that we didn't actually want to go back to life as we knew it. We really loved living abroad, and we also discovered that people were becoming digital nomads. And that idea really intrigued us. We wanted to give it a try, and so now, about 6 years later, we have been doing that. So we work remotely. We are self-employed. We have a small business that does a number of different things, from social media to events, running our blog.
Virtual assisting, managing people's websites. It's a variety of projects.
But basically that allows us to travel about 50% of the year. And then the other part of the year we are based in Oregon.
So basically, in the times where it's really cold, that's when we like to travel. And then when it's beautiful in Oregon, that's when we like to be in Oregon. And we've chosen this lifestyle because it just matches our values. Being intentional, we wanted to sort of create a life that sort of matches like what we want to do. And we just realized that being travelers is something that's a core part of who we are.
Hold up.
So if I can, how about you tell us a little bit more about the idea behind intentional traveling, because that's the name of your website. And also, if I remember correctly, Michelle first contacted my website because she read about right sizing. And in case you're not familiar with the term of right sizing, it's more or less finding a lifestyle that works uniquely for you, your financial situation, your temperament, your values, what matters to you. And from what I can tell, and hopefully Jed and Michelle will clarify it, intentional travel is pretty much like right sizing. Right-sized travel. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the word intentionality first. I mean, I think that's really important and sort of drives everything that Michelle and I do. Being intentional, one of the things we love about it, it means for us that we are purposely thinking about every aspect of our lives and being like sort of the authors of what we want to do in our lives. I think we just found that there are a lot of people who were sort of just coasting along or just doing what they were told, or thinking that, that there was a plan set out and they had to live whatever somebody else was doing. And I think we just felt like we wanted to sort of live the life that we wanted. And what does that look like? So I think we do a lot of planning on all aspects of our life, not just travel, but like, how are we going to make money? What do we care about in the world? Like, and how do we set up our life to sort of support that? So being intentional about all aspects, not just one thing, is really, really important to us. And it's sort of the core of our relationship. Yeah, and so it shows up. How does it show up in travel for us?
Well, I think we chose a lifestyle of travel because we realized that was a high value for us, and whereas a value of stability or predictability was not that important. So that is something that we traded. So our lifestyle is not necessarily the most stable or predictable, but it is flexible, and it allows us to go visit family when we want to, or to go, just see new things. So that's one aspect for us. But I think intentional travel can mean different things to different people because everyone's values are different. And then the other thing about intentional travel, I think, is it's more than the default vacation travel. So there's nothing wrong with needing a vacation and going to a resort and reading a book by the pool, because a lot of times if we work really hard, that might be exactly what we need. But that's not necessarily the kind of travel that we love to promote. So for us, travel and living abroad especially has been really transformational. It's shaped the way that we think and the way that we see the world. And that, I think, is the magic of travel. So going beyond the typical vacation, stepping outside your comfort zone, stepping outside your bubble of what you know at home, seeing how other people live in other cultures. And that not only stretches you and opens your mind, it transforms you, it also affects how you interact with the world and your community. So that has a ripple effect and transforms communities and the world.
So, if you met your 18-year-old niece or nephew, and they're trying to get your wisdom of saying what's the best thing that's gonna come of this for me, what could you say? If I took your path?
I think the big one for if I were to have an 18-year-old nephew or niece, and I would impart some of the little wisdom that we have about our lives and what that has meant, it's kind of, again, like just writing your own sort of journey. I think it's really important that people sort of look inward and think about what is it that's important to them, and what do they want to do in their lives. So I think asking that question first is really important, because I think then you set up your lifestyle to sort of meet those values. So I have no idea what my niece or nephew is going to love doing or wants to do in their lives. So I would start there. I would say, hey, what do you care about the most? Or what do you want to do in your life? And then let's talk about what are the steps you need to take in order to live that life. So for Michelle and I, again, living abroad for a while, doing slow travel, meeting people, not having a typical vacation, those things were important to us. Having flexibility, being the masters of our own time, those things were important to us. So I think that's what I would start with first.
Well, I think the other aspect of travel is you don't really know what you want until you've seen it.
That's
and
true.
so travel is one way to experience different things and to realize other ways of doing life. And you might find a way of doing life that you never knew existed that is just right for you, and you would not have experienced that if you had stayed at home and only seen the same thing your whole entire life.
So I guess in that aspect, start with like what it is that you want to do and what you value and care about. Go and do it. And I think the thing that maybe the last thing I would sort of interject as personal wisdom about this, of like how to do it, is to not think about all the barriers that stops you from doing things you want to do. Because I think oftentimes you may think of like what it is you want to do and you're excited about it, but then you sort of think about like it's not possible. And I think that maybe holds people back from actually doing those things. So I would tell like my 18-year-old niece or nephew, I'm like, well, don't start with all the things that are gonna make it like hard to do, or it's like don't worry so much about the barriers. Like really think about your values. I just think there's a lot of great information and a lot of people out there who have shown us that like all the worries and fears I had about traveling, like they've sort of talked about it, and I've been like, so if I don't have any more excuses, how come I'm not doing these things? So that's what I would say.
Such great information. Thank you, guys. I wish Tom and I had heard you or found your website long ago.
Well, more than the website, we wish to found their book, because we
Yes.
both read their book, and it's a fast read synopsis of how you can do this intentional travel with all the connectors from the internet. And so when we were growing up, we didn't have that capability. So anybody that even thinks about going down this path, grab their book. I don't mean to be a salesman, but
Right.
grab their book.
Well, and there's lots of practical information about Airbnbs and about how you can do vacation exchanges and all kinds of different little things that are really helpful. Like Tom said, it's a very easy read with lots of good information and some really interesting links to things that I didn't even know existed before. So there's always more to learn about it. But travel is on our minds, but travel isn't happening with our bodies lately due to the pandemic. Michelle and Jed, what are you guys doing? What's your immediate plans? Are you hoping to travel soon? How are you spending your days in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to travel as soon as it's a safe and responsible act. We are here on a road trip, and the reason that we did that is because we did feel like we found a way to do it without going into public spaces or, increasing anyone's risk. And a little tip about that is we have a camp toilet that we take with us. So
the luggable loo.
That allows us to not go into public restrooms. But anyways, we have been staying put a lot more because we've seen in a lot of communities they are asking us not to travel. And so part of intentional travel, I think, is also being a responsible traveler and listening to those communities that you might be entering and respecting their protocols and their desires. But yeah, a lot of the world relies on tourism, and a lot of people are hoping to get that industry back up. A lot of jobs have been lost because of it. So as soon as it is safe, and I would say, different countries and destinations have already started putting some protocols in place where you can get tested before you fly, you can get tested as soon as you land, you can be, just proactive about mask wearing and social distancing and choosing your activities really wisely in terms of limiting your exposure. So if that is something that you're able to do, I'm sure a lot of destinations would welcome that. But at this time, it's hard to say where the vaccine is going to come into play, how fast it's going to be distributed, how effective it will be at, slowing the spread, I guess. So that is all still yet to be seen. Hopefully we can travel in the next year, but it's hard to say.
So I know we could probably talk about travel, and you guys are such a wealth of information. I'm so glad you were willing to experiment with us today, because obviously we've had a few noise challenges that we did not anticipate. But I hope it was fun for you, because it was fun for me. And I hope a lot of the people who view this will take the time to go to intentionaltravelers.com. They also have another website where they're doing cooking classes. How cool is that? But one last thing, is there one last thing that you'd like to leave the Smart Living listeners with today?
I think going back to what I said earlier, maybe to my 18-year-old niece and nephew, I like that question. But it's just, again, everybody's life looks different and everybody has different values and what they want to do. And I love that you say right sizing, because I think that's really important, that everybody should think about their own lives and what it is that you want to do and live your life, sort of design your life to meet that, your values. And so, for us, we love traveling 50% of the year, and 50% of the year we're home. That works for us. That doesn't work for everybody, and we get that. What we would love to see is a world of people who have chosen to live their lives because that's the way that they wanted to live it. And they're sort of the masters of their time, or they've thought really hard about the important decisions they're going to make about their lives. That's what we care about. So I think for us, if we could leave that with you and just say, again, look at your own lives and think about what it is that's important to you, and really set up your life to sort of support that. That's what I would say.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much. So what we like to do at the very end is wave goodbye.
Thank you. Please leave comments below.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Take care. Yeah. Stay safe, everybody.